Hello, wonderful creative friends. Welcome to the Kaleidoscope 2022 Taster Week. My name is Tamara Laporte for Willowing Arts, and I am your host on this event. Here is a little introduction about me. So, I'm Tamara Laporte, but most people call me Tam. I'm a mixed media artist, author, and online art teacher. I live in the beautiful countryside of England with my wonderful husband, Andy, 2 awesome boys called Dylan and Elliot, 4 dogs, and a gaggle of farm animals as well. My artwork can be described as mixed media folk art with a focus on magical realism. It ranges from whimsical children's illustrations to a more stylized fantasy art. Love, mystery, innocence, hope, spirituality, kindness, and self-connection all inspire my artwork. Symbolism and layering play a big part in my artwork too. My paintings often contain healing themes, uplifting messages, and inspirational poetry. I love everything art basically, and I try to share my creative passions with my many students who live all over the world. I've been doing this work since 2008 now, so I'm a little bit of a dinosaur. A mixed media dinosaur. I've built up a lot of experience over the years. It is my absolute joy, pleasure, and privilege to share all that I've learned with you out there. I couldn't imagine a better job. Thank you for being here today. I love running online art classes and feel super excited about my newest course, Kaleidoscope, which is all about color, our beautiful world, and the human spirit. We've run it twice so far, and it's been a huge success and very popular. So, we are running it again! Yay! We are kicking off this wonderful course, as you know, with this free Taster Week. Yes! I'm super excited to be sharing all the free art sessions with you. For my first session today, we are going to create a super sweet painting of this adorable kitty cat. Isn't she so adorable? I love her! I hope you enjoy this session, and if you love this Taster Week, I hope you'll decide to join us on the main Kaleidoscope course. Now, the main Kaleidoscope course starts on August the 1st, and while most of the sessions you see on this Taster Week here are at times time-lapsed and not in depth, on the main Kaleidoscope course, all main sessions will be in real time and in depth. The main course also comes with a library of information about color and color theory. I hope that you'll join. Now remember that the taster sessions are only available 7 days, but if you join Kaleidoscope, you'll get lifelong access to all content and you can download it too. Thank you for being here today. Let's get started on creating some art. Yay! Can't wait to see what you do. Tag me in the Facebook group if you upload your work. I'd love to see your beautiful cats. Much love. Have a great time. Bye! Hello again everyone, and welcome to the creative part of this Kaleidoscope taster session with me, Tamara Laporte. I'm really excited to be painting this cute little cat with you all today. So for my first session, I wanted to focus on the worldly wonder that is the cat, the domestic cat. Last year I had one session that focused on dogs as our beloved pets, but this year I wanted to focus on cats. I absolutely adore cats and wish I could get one or more, but we have some allergic family members, so that's likely not going to happen. Cats are such amazing creatures and such lovable and funny pets. Hello cat videos to so many of us. I really wanted to celebrate them today by painting a cute portrait of this sweet little kitten like this today. So let's have a little look at the cat and its personality, characteristics, and some interesting facts about them. So a cat has a strong, flexible body. It has quick reflexes, very sharp teeth, and retractable claws that are adapted to killing small prey. Its night vision and sense of smell are very well developed, and it can hear sounds too faint or too high in frequency for us, for human ears. Cats were first domesticated in the Near East, or also known as Western Asia, around 7500 BC, so a very, very long time ago. It was long thought, though, that cat domestication began in ancient Egypt. That's what I thought as well until I started researching this. Where in ancient Egypt, cats were worshipped and venerated from around 3100 BC. But so it turned out that actually domestication happened well before then, in 7500 BC, which is fascinating. Now, and here are some other interesting facts about cats. Did you know that a house cat's genome is 95.6% tiger? That made me laugh. Wow, it has so much in common with the tiger. Did you know that cats can jump up to 6 times their length, their own length? And did you know that cats' claws curve all the way downwards, which means that they can't climb down trees head first. Instead, they have to do the back down the trunk. You may have seen them do that. I find that was really funny, and I never knew why they do that. I thought it was just a little quirk, but it has to do with their nails, their claws rather. Another interesting fact about cats is that they have an extra organ that allows them to taste scents on the air. And cats have nearly twice the amount of neurons in their cerebral cortex compared to dogs, which I thought was kind of fascinating as well. Finally, one other fun fact about cats, and that is that the cats walk like camels and giraffes. They move both of their right feet first and then move both of their left feet. No other animal other than cats, camels and giraffes walk this way. I thought it was really interesting to have a little research into cats and find out some more things about them, other than just how cute and funny they are in cat videos. Now, and one final thing, as of 2021, there were an estimated 220 million owned cats and 480 million stray cats in the world. Wow, that is crazy. So many cats. Okay, so today I want to draw and paint a sweet kitty cat with you that has a flower crown on her head. So cute. And we're going to be doing this in my style that is what one might call whimsical. So I create, generally speaking, I create more whimsical, quirky animals, and I'd love to do a little kitty cat in that quirky style that I normally do as well today with you. So let's talk a little bit about color schemes. I will be working in a complementary color scheme today. This is a strong and effective color scheme that can be a little overbearing if you're not careful. The trick with this color scheme is to use tints and shades to tone down the intensity and to use one of your colors as an accent rather than equally dividing the colors up by 50-50. So if you just have one as an accent, like you can see here, I've got little green bits that are the accent. It's less overbearing if you just have that color, one of the colors, like a small amount in the painting, than having it 50-50 spread out. So complementary colors are colors that sit opposite on the wheel. This is the color wheel, and some of you may be familiar with it and have one at home. So complementary colors are yellow and violet or purple, blue and orange, and then we have red and green. These are sort of the well-known complementary colors. And so today I'll be working with pinks and reds and magentas and greens as an opposite. And the thing is, the funny thing about this color scheme is that I actually don't like working with red versus green in their purest hues, but I absolutely adore working with pinks and magentas and sort of slightly more muted greens. So this color combination delights me, but if this entire cat had been proper red, I would have really not liked it. If you join the main Kaleidoscope course, we will learn in great depth about all of the color schemes, what tints and shades and tones are, and how to use color in a really effective ways. So you're going to have some interesting tasters of that in this week. And again, if you join, then we'll do this in much more depth. Alright, briefly let's discuss supplies. So today I will be working with mostly with watercolor paints. I have a Schminke set. I will be working with a Schminke set, watercolor set, but you don't have to have this brand. You can be working with any watercolor set you already have available. Then I'll also be working with some acrylics paint markers in black and white. I usually have Posca pens, but Liquitex do them as well, and this is a new brand I'm using called Artistro. Then I may use a small amount of color pencils just for some shading around the eyes, probably in a green. This is Arteza, but it can be any brand. I also have Prismacolor, Polychromos, Faber-Castell, and Caran d'Ache. All of them are fine. And then you'll also need some water and some brushes and a pencil for drawing. Oh, and then optionally some white acrylics. I actually looked at, this was a little sketch that I did before for the lesson, and I thought we could maybe do a bit of white on the tummy, something like that, but not sure yet. And so white acrylics would be something like this, either fluid acrylics or just normal heavy-bodied white titanium buff or something like that. Okay, so this design is fairly straightforward to draw. However, if you are a new artist and feel worried about the drawing process, please note that there is a traceable file included in this session, which you can trace with graphite paper. However, I'll also demonstrate how you can draw a cat like this yourself. Again, the design is fairly straightforward. Okay, I think that's all the intro done with. Let's get started. I hope you enjoyed this session and I hope to see you on the main Kaleidoscope course. Do tag me in the Facebook group if you upload your work. I'd love to see your sweet kitty cats. And some of this session will be time-lapsed to save on time, but I'll explain the steps along the way. And do remember that on the main Kaleidoscope course, all main lessons are in-depth and in real time. Okay, enjoy and have a wonderful session. I can't wait to see what you do. Okay, so this is my design that you can also trace if you're unsure about drawing it. But I'll also show you how you can draw a design like this. And it's, like I said, it's fairly straightforward. Okay, so with cats, the cool thing is that cats come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Some have larger ears, like humans, you know, it's like that, and like dogs. Although cats, I suppose, are slightly more uniform, but they definitely have variation amongst the species, don't they? So they come in sort of like with larger ears and smaller ears, larger noses, smaller noses, etc. And I have a tendency to quirkify my designs anyway. So you can do whatever you like, is what I'm trying to say. You can make the eyes really large, you can make them more proportionate, you can make the ears really large or smaller. It's really up to you. But as a general guideline, I like to do cats like this. So I start with a little circular shape. And oh yeah, the other thing is we're having this cat sort of come off the page here, and then the top here is sort of empty, so maybe up until about a quarter. You leave a quarter at the top of your page open, and that will be filled with sort of some splatter and stuff. Alright, so I'm going to roughly draw my slightly flat oval that way, horizontally flat, roughly kind of a quarter down the page. And you see how I don't press very hard, I'm just estimating roughly where it's going to be. And you can use an eraser to erase your pencil lines once you're ready with when you found the shape that you want. And then I might already kind of, let's say, I tend to I do tend to play around. So then let's just put a line through the middle horizontally. And then we're going to have a look. We're going to go, I might want to make this slightly higher. I don't know. So this is what you this is kind of creative freedom. See how big you want your cat's face to be, head to be, that sort of stuff. So I might like it slightly higher, not sure. And then the little ears are going to come out here. But I might adjust this again. So as I'm drawing, I might change the proportions. And then we're going to draw a vertical line through the middle of the oval as well. Approximately, and I'll start with a little nose. So sometimes I make cats and I make really big noses, like that big. This is actually probably proportionate, but in this design I made quite a cute little small tiny nose. I don't know, just for fun. Like sometimes it's fun to exaggerate and make certain features and make certain ones smaller. So this time I did quite a small little cute nosy, like that. And then to measure where the eyes are going to go, I tend to do this. First, I tend to draw, that sort of area where, that forehead area where, I don't know, sometimes they have a pattern there. This one won't, but sometimes they do. And then from that space, you can kind of measure the eyes. So you want the eyes to be slightly away, do a little line like that. And then now let's see how big we want the eyes to be. So you can make smaller eyes, can bigger eyes. And of course, when they have big eyes, they're this sort of like really sweet little cute design there. So you go. Here we have already the face is already coming together, as you can see. And then here, the mouths on cats are super easy. They're just these little, and then, oh, this one looks like Felix from the Felix commercial, because he doesn't have that shaggy hair yet. Looks so cute. Okay, and then the eyes are mostly just round, but I do tend to sort of put a little bit of a tear duct there and a tear duct here. And then I do make the eyes more human looking than they are realistic. They're not, cats have more sort of animal. My eyes look more human than animalistic-y. And then cats do have those sort of vertical kind of, have these vertical pupils. And I do put like an eyelid above, which you don't tend to see on cats, but I do it just for the sake of, I like it. And then we can do some eyelashes later on. Anyway, I'm ready to bring them in. But okay, let's erase some of the lines again that are helping us. Placement guidelines. So we have a bit more. Okay. And then I'm kind of checking, so do I want the map? You know, then now you can make changes all sorts you like. You know, you can make the eyes smaller, bigger. You can place them wider or closer near each other. You can make the mouth bigger or smaller. All these things are all fine. You can, all of it will still look like a cat, is what I'm trying to say. And they just look slightly different from other cats that way. So it's all up to you, however way you want to do your cat. You can play with that, or you can do exactly what I do. That's all fine, whatever you want to do. Okay, so now the other cat that I've done, this little pink one, is really shaggy haired, which I really like. And this other design, same story. So here's a sort of a shaggy haired cat. You see how there's the little curvy, not curvy, hairy edges here. So we'll do that as well on this one. So right now it's actually more of a Siamese cat that doesn't have a lot of hair. But if we want to make it more hairy, we're gonna start. So this body, the body is just slowly widening. All right, it's going to slowly widen. So we're just going to go, and we're going to do a shaggy hair. Shaggy hair is easy, I say. Shaggy hair is kind of just you doing messy squiggles. You see? This is more messy than the other one, but something like this. And so you're slowly but surely doing that, going slightly outwards. And in fact, I'd like this to be a bit more out. And here, so hold on. So we're going to remove the bottom half of that circle that we used to make the face earlier. I'm going to remove that so that it doesn't look odd. That just looks like, you know, one of those floofs. Don't they sometimes called they call cats floofs? Now it looks like a big floof that has lots of hair. Look how cute. It's so cute. It's pretty much rectangular, but it slowly fades, goes sideways or out. And here this one is a bit wider. So I started, like, this is a slightly larger cat. So if you want it bigger, you could make the entire face a little bit bigger. Or you can make the body a bit bigger. You know, you can do this a little bit more out, and you have a wider cat. You know, there's much more we can do. We can add a tail, we can add legs, but I'm trying to keep it simple. Simple, just simplistic design. And play with paint more than drawing today. And then we're going to do a bit more drawing because I'd like the cat to have flowers on his or her head. Okay, so when we do flowers, look how sweet. And these little lines, they can be deleted as they're not really meant to be there. They were more just guidelines to help me. Okay, so flowers. I like the idea of doing flower crown around this cat's head. And so the way I do flowers, I do maybe 3 or 4 types of flowers usually. One of them is a rose. And I do super simple childlike drawings for flowers. I like that. Just adds a charm. So the way I do a rose is I do a little squiggle for the center part. For the center. And then I start to sort of do squiggly leaves. Squiggly leaves. Like this. And then go wider and wider and wider. You can do another one here maybe. Like that. That's it. That's as simple as I do my roses. Sometimes I'm slightly more particular with them. On this design so far, I've only done, and I do these little daisy types and smaller daisy types. Sometimes I do pansies. Is it? I don't know if you pansies like this. These ones, and I sometimes do more complicated flowers, like, you know, the ones that are like this and maybe hanging. You know, sometimes I make them more complicated, but most of the time my flowers and all my designs are fairly simplistic. I like that. I like the charm of that. That's just a me thing. You can make them much more intricate if you prefer. No problem. You can always follow your heart. So if you learn from other people, it's not like that's the one and only way one has to do things in life or in the art life. You can just take things for inspiration. And some things you like, some things you don't like, and you can add and change or take inspiration from other teachers, and then you bring some things together, and then you come out with some of your own ideas, and then suddenly you have developed your own style. Okay, don't think that you have to do everything the way a teacher does. But as you're still learning, you can of course do exactly what the person does. I'm just trying to give you creative license to adapt and change. You know, you don't have to stick with a specific approach to creating, because everyone will have their own very personal preferences and approaches to the creative process, and including you. And that's all cool. So now a flower crown. So I kind of did a little rose here. And basically I'm just kind of placing flowers around the head here. But then I did a little daisy here. I'm kind of following the other design a little bit, but not exactly. Another rose, a couple of leaves, little twiggy thing coming out with a couple of little leaves. Then look, another little, like a daisy. Can put some leaves, little twig coming out. It can be playful here. Maybe another daisy and a couple of little daisies. Couple of leaves sticking out. Another rose. And leaves and a twiggy. Something basically like this, you know, and it doesn't have to be the exact thing. And decide how you want to design things. Put a couple of littler flowers in, little leaves, little green leaves. And so this area later on is going to be where we're doing flowers, and where the green will come in. So we're only really going to put green in the eyes and in the floral area, and the flower is going to be a shade of pink as well. So we're going to be working with magentas and pinks and greens. I can't wait. So here we go. Here's the super simple design. I hope that wasn't too hard to try and create. And like I said, you can play around. You can make him rounder, thinner, longer, wider. As always, you know, you play with designs the way you want to. But also you can stick with roughly this. And let's now get started on the painting. Can't wait. I'm very excited. Well, hello again. So here is VoiceOver Tam talking you through what I'm doing. So we're going to start off with a light layer of a pink or a magenta of some sorts. Here I am actually working with a color called Opera Pink in the Daniel Smith watercolor series, and it's actually a fluorescent pink, so it's very vibrant. But if you don't have that one, you can start with a magenta or any other color, kind of even maybe a rose, a red or something. You know, whatever kind of color you want to work with can work. And as you can see, I already added some splatters at the beginning. Whenever I work with watercolor and I work fairly loosely, I enjoy adding splatters from the beginning. It just helps me kind of loosen up a bit. And so we're just adding this like loose and light layer as a first layer. And what you need to know about watercolor is that it tends to fade when it dries. So even if your layer at this point might look quite vibrant or quite intense, you tend to lose that vibrancy as it dries. So if you want to keep some of that vibrancy, you'll need to add more layers later on. And as I mentioned before, I'll also be working with magenta, so I'll be using magentas to intensify the kind of layer of the body a bit later on. So here I'm also adding these pinks to the ears, and at first I'm trying to spare the flowers, and then I can't be bothered anymore. It's too fiddly, so I do actually go over the flowers a little bit, and then later it doesn't matter because later on we're going to go over them with red. Now, while the layer of the body is still wet, I'm starting to drop in some magenta into the edges here of the body, on where the fur is. So the shaggy fur gets a little bit more magenta dropped into the wet layer, and this is what they call wet in wet, a technique. And the nice thing about that technique is that the pigment sort of spreads in an unruly, unpredictable way, and so that can add a little bit of a fun kind of texture to your page. Now, the other thing you saw me do there was dry in between layers. So I tend to do that quite a lot. It helps me figure out what to do next sometimes, and also it avoids colors from bleeding into each other if you don't like that. Like, as you can see, the body's color is faded quite a bit, not very much, but it's faded quite a bit compared to the original application. And so we can again later on make this a bit darker. Now in the meantime, I've started working on the flowers a little bit, and I'm adding versions of red and magenta to the flowers. So it's, yeah, I don't exactly remember what color I used, but it's more of a kind of red, more of a normal red, and also magenta for the daisies there. And here I've started working on the eyes already, and so for the green, I'm only going to use the green in small amounts. So we're using the greens on the eyes and on some of the leaves, and that's about it. And then we're using the green as an accent and not as a dominant color, because as I mentioned before, with a complementary color scheme, you don't really want 50-50 for both colors, because that will feel a little overwhelming. But using them as an accent can work really, really well. So I'm kind of using a sort of mossy green here. And you may have seen there as well that I use my brush as a stamp, which is quite nice. The brush of watercolor brushes, if they are those pointy round ones, actually look like leaf shapes if you stamp them, which is quite fun. Okay, and then I added a few more splatters there again, which is great fun. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of detail work here and there in and amongst the flowers there. Oh, and then I realized, did you see how some of the green bled into some of the magenta? So I removed that with a bit of tissue paper. Okay, so once all of it is dry, I then used a Posca pen, a black Posca acrylics marker, to start adding line work and details in. So start off doing that around the eyes, and I will be doing that in just a moment, in the flowers and in the hair, everywhere I want. And when I do apply my line work, I tend to do it a little bit sketchily. I don't tend to do it super precise. I like a little bit of a sketchy look and a little bit of a messy look, if you will. I feel it adds charm, but it's again a personal choice of what you prefer. So you might like more precise lines. I do them a little bit loose and impressionistic, if you will. So here we go. We're doing the same around the flowers. All the lines, the original lines of the graphite, I'm kind of tracing over loosely, so not exactly, but just loosely. And firming up the shapes where I lost some of the shapes with the painting process. But again, I'm not being very accurate. You see how within the leaves there are bits of white, so I'm not worried about really outlining every single shape in perfection. I like the messy look. Okay, so now I'm doing the same. I'm doing line work in the hair area, the shaggy hair area for the floof. With a big floof, and that can be quite a messy thing that you can do. It's quite charming, you know, you just get that messy shaggy hair. And here I'm adding a little bit of a doodle to the face, so I'm also very known for adding doodles and little symbols to my characters, so I just like doing that, just decorating the character a little bit with meaningful doodles. And here I'm using a white acrylics pen as highlights, to apply highlights to the eyes and to the eyelid. Oh, and back to using a bit of magenta or pink for cheeks, and the nose was painted, and I'm deepening the shading again. So this is layer number 3 that goes onto the body, you see, so you'll need quite a few layers, and layer 4 there. A bit more layering if you wanted to intensify the depth or the intensity of your shading there. So I'm sticking with just the outer edges, and then the tummy area will sort of be a bit whiter and lighter later on. We'll add some white and some kind of little marks there implying hair. Alright, a little bit of that magenta on the edge of the ear as well, and deepening the color a little bit on the face with the same kind of magenta color. And I gave her cheeks, even though cats don't have cheeks like that, rosy cheeks. But I do that. That's what I mean. I tend to humanize. Is that the word? I tend to make my animals quite human looking in many ways. Give them cheeks, give them kind of eyelashes that look more, you know, human than animal. Okay, here I'm using that white acrylics, and it was meant to make it white, but look what happens. It made it pink because the layer was still wet. So there you go. I let it dry, and now the white stays. So that's good. So I just wanted the tummy to be a little bit white. You know how some cats have these cute white tummies, and I thought that would be quite a little bit more contrast in the entire design. So I really like how that's coming out. And here I'm doing an extra layer on the flowers. So same story, the color on the flowers also faded as it dried. So I'm bringing another layer in just to bring some more depth into it and with some shading. And I think I have 3 roses, don't I? Yeah. So I'm sticking with the same color roses. And for the daisies also the same color. It's just more of actually a red purple there I think I'm using. That looks all festive and fun. And I'm continuing to use the paintbrush to stamp some kind of little leaves, little petals around the flower crown. I'm going to make it a little bit more playful. And here I'm splattering some green, I think, yes, some green around the cat. If you're worried about splattering, ending up on a face, then you can cover the face like I did. Now I'm using a color pencil to just do some shading around the eyes and in the eyeball as well. And back to, I'm adding the lashes. Nice, I always like adding lashes. Well, nowadays, I didn't used to. But it always kind of finishes the eyes really nicely. So this one gets some really pronounced lashes. And some of those whisker paws, I'd like to call them. I'm not sure if that's the correct terminology for it. There's some whisker paws. And I'm drawing some like little extra doodles, plus a little swirl on the rosy cheeks. And some actual whiskers as well. I grabbed another white acrylics pen and I'm making some extra little doodles and tiny little details. So I'm putting some white whisker paws there as well, some highlights on the eyelid and intensifying the highlights in the eye. And then the white's also used to bring some white details to the flower crown and some sparkles. I love sparkles. I love white sparkly things to kind of liven up a painting if it's a little bit on the dark side, if a certain area is on the dark side. And I got a little like sparkly things, and in this case, those white little sparkles on the flower crown look a bit like seeds, you know, like that are flying in the wind. And here I wanted something on her tummy as well, so I'm just kind of repeating some little lines for the tummy, that's sort of like implying it's hair. And then I'm also giving her fur some stars and sparkles, because even though this is not realistic, it's just something I can't help doing. Yeah, stars and hearts and little doodles are how I like to finalize all of my artwork often, and it's a very meditative and wonderful process. So you'll see me do it, even if it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, right now it doesn't make sense, does it? There's very few cats with stars on their fur, but I don't know. It just makes me happy that's why I do it. And here you see me use a Stabilo All pencil to just add some shading, some really dark shading where I feel it needs it. So it was amongst the flowers a little bit and also around the eye. So I like to do quite extreme, dramatic eye shading often. So this is a little bit more dramatic, but that's optional, you know. And here I'm putting some darker shading in and amongst the flowers of the flower crown. And again, a little bit around the eye as well, so that the eyes really draw your attention. So I think we're nearly there, but before we are done, I am going to do some magenta splatters on the bottom of the body, which I thought was kind of fun and playful, and draw a heart on the chest of this lovely kitty cat, who is ever so adorable and very, very lovely. Yeah, so let's see. I think we're nearly there, but I think I forgot one more thing. I often like to add butterfly wings to my characters. And I think that's what we're going to do in just a moment as a final step. Yep, here we go. So again, this is an optional thing. I love the charm of the butterfly wings, and I pretend that pretty much all creatures can fly. Dogs, cats, elephants, doesn't matter. They can all fly, or at least symbolically. So I end up with some little butterfly wings, and that's the finishing touch for me. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this session. I can't wait to see your lovely cats. And again, if you enjoyed this session, please consider joining Kaleidoscope 2022, where we'll learn lots and lots and lots about color, how to use color effectively, and we will be focusing on wonderful, inspiring themes like people and worldly wonders and the human spirit and animals, and we'll just be celebrating the good in the world, because it's not all bad, you know. I know we've had some really, really challenging years in the past 2 years, but it's important that we balance out the challenges with also looking at what is positive, what is working, and that's what I hope this course will provide partially, in addition to learning all the technical stuff and having lots of fun with your paints and your brushes. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I so appreciate you. Much love. Bye-bye.